So today I want to talk about Roronoa Zoro, man, my guy. Talk about Zoro all the time, but recently I've been having to talk about him a lot more often, man, because of what's been going on in Wano. The lore behind this man is crazy. And recently in this Zoro chapter 1033 that we had, Kozabura taught us a ton about swords. I mean, a ton. Stuff that we kind of already knew, but it just got confirmed, you know, in a chapter instead of like a Viver card or SBS. Kozabura explains to us the whole lineage between Kuina, her father, him, etc. Zoro has this whole moment where he's like, how did these blades get to the East Blue from Wano? And that's how we get here to this kind of conversation about black blades and what Zoro's new blades could potentially be. I've talked about this before, but now that we have much more context and one specific fact that is crazy and changes everything about swords that we know, today we're discussing it once again. But of course, before we get into the video, if you guys like this video, make sure that you like it, of course. And if you want more One Piece content, make sure you subscribe and turn on those post notifications. Also in the pinned comment, my Discord link and Twitter links are there. So if you want to join me in the Discord server, we have fun. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, we have fun there as well. Without further ado though, let's get straight into the video, baby. So Kozabura tells us that swords are not cursed. And I know y'all are wondering, well, Sen, we've seen cursed blades. So what do you mean they're not cursed? Well, he explains that all swords have their own personality, and that some of these personalities in these swords are, you know, too strong for people. And because of that, they deem them to be cursed. But it's not that they're cursed. It's just that the people that are holding these blades are simply too weak. And as soon as I learned that, I think, well, what does that mean for our story? Well, if you remember the conversation at Bandit Bridge with Zoro and Gyokamaru, they're fighting, and this is before the Kamazo fight, Zoro brings up black blades. And he is about to kind of talk about it, but of course he gets cut off by Kamazo, aka Echiro Oda, because you know Oda's not going to tell us everything we need to know all at once. He going, you feel me, sprinkle the breadcrumbs, and we're going to speculate and try to theorize on it. But with this new profound information about how swords are not cursed, they just seem to be too strong for people, it's got me thinking, how is that related to black blades? Well, hear me out. One of the biggest theories that people have regarding black blades is that it is completely tied to armament haki. Now, at first I was like, is it tied to armament haki? I mean, it makes sense. Armament haki kind of can make blades darker. You got the whole purple hue and the darkened blades. So is that the key to making a black blade? But then it happened. My man Zoro was fighting King, and he's trying to basically tell Enma to stop taking his haki. But then after this flashback and, you know, this talk that he had internally, he remembers what Kozabura tells him about weak swordsmen. And Zoro comes to that conclusion that, no, I don't need to tell it to stop. It's testing me. This blade is testing me to see if I can be the wielder. What I lack is strength. And then he decides to flow all of his haki into the blade. Now, how is this relevant? Well, we already came to a conclusion through many theories. Well, the majority of us feel that some sort of haki is the reason and how black blades are created. Well, what if it's not armament haki? What if it's Conqueror's haki? Conqueror's coding is something that only the strong can do. Infusing your Conqueror's haki is something that we haven't seen often, but we have seen. We've seen it with Roger, Whitebeard. We've seen it with Kaido, Big Mom. And now that Zoro has this ability, it only makes sense to me that Mihawk has it as well. And I'll explain. So Zoro moving up in the rank and getting an ability that has already been deemed to only be used by those that are powerful by a Yonko is pretty much fact for me. Kaido saying that only the strong can do this, that only the strong can infuse their Conqueror's haki, is confirmation that you have to be upper echelon or at a certain level to do this. And yes, indirectly, this also means to me that if you are someone that is a non-coder and you fight someone that is a coder, you'd probably be at a disadvantage when it comes to attack potency. Now, I'm not saying you can't make up for this lack of attack potency in other things. You know, I'm not saying you can't make it an attrition match or you can't use your speeds, you know, to outmaneuver your opponent and beat them that way. I'm not saying that you can't do that to compensate for being, you know, less of an attacker. We've seen this with fighters like Marco, for instance. He's not a heavy attacker, yet he can still, through the battle of attrition, you know, go against for a long time top tier opponents. So it's possible for non-coders to compete with coders. They just need something like a devil fruit or, you know, just better physical feats besides attack to compensate for that. But having Zoro be a Conqueror coder, someone that can infuse Conqueror's haki, and having Mihawk be his biggest match in the story, Mihawk should be able to match what Zoro was doing, which is why I feel like King may also have coding. The point that I'm making is one of the very few black blades we've seen, and it may actually be the only black blade, I'm just drawing a blank on it, is the Yoru, which is Mihawk's blade. So if Mihawk does have Conqueror's coating, I feel like the key to making that blade black is that he was consistently flowing his Conqueror's coating through it. Now, I know you may be asking, well, what about, you know, the Bicentennial that Whitebeard had, or the Ace sword that Roger had? And that very well may be a good counter to this argument, but I believe that these individuals are not pure swordsmen. Now, I know y'all hate the pure swordsman argument, and I understand, but I really do feel like people that dedicate their life to the sword are different than just regular swordsmen. Like, I'm not saying that Shanks and Roger aren't swordsmen, but I think it's a difference between just, you know, a regular swordsman, someone that is using a sword, and someone that is dedicating their life to the sword. No matter what, they're swordsmen, right? That's just how it is. They're using a sword. That's the definition of a swordsman. But I think in One Piece, people that use and dedicate their life to the sword are a bit different. People like Vista, people like Fujitora, Mihawk, Zoro, these people dedicate their life to the sword. It seems like being a samurai or being a swordsman is their calling, the thing that they aspire to be. And I think because of that, and the fact that they are consistently flowing their Haki into the sword, because that is their only weapon that they do use, it changes how the sword reacts to the Haki. And because more Haki is being flowed into it, I think that eventually it will become a black blade. And I'm saying this because if you look at Zoro's sword, it looks a little bit different with the coating. They're like kind of smoking. They have like a different visual aspect to them. So I'm thinking, is it possible that people are flowing different amounts of Haki into different places? Like, what if someone like Shanks, yes, he would flow his Haki into a sword, but what if he's also flowing his Haki into his arms, legs, things like that, so it's more spread out, meaning that there's less Haki being flowed directly to the sword, whereas Zoro isn't thinking about using his feet, isn't thinking about using his hands, he's flowing all of his Haki into his swords alone. That would be the same thing with Mihawk. And because of the amount of Haki they're flowing, what if that is like the reason why their swords could be black? And I know that this is far-fetched and this could be a reach, and I know a lot of you are probably like, I feel like I understand, but I'm not 100% with you. I get that. But I think that it is a possibility and something that shouldn't be slept on. Another possibility is it's just Oda not revealing all the information at once. Like, what if there's a possibility that there are other blades that are black we just don't know? What if Roger's blade is black or Shanks' blade is a black blade? Like, what if they are black blades? He just hasn't told us yet. Maybe he doesn't want to reveal that information because he isn't ready to explain black blades to us. Because like I said, if it comes out that Shanks, Roger, Whitebeard, all of these guys' blades are black blades as well, that is pretty much the icing on the cake. That's a cherry on top for me. That lets me know that, okay, what are these people and what do they have in common? Why are all of their blades blacks and no one else's are? Because these people use and infuse their Conqueror's Haki into their blades. I think due to all of this, that Zoro's going to make a black blade out of Enma. Enma is drawing so much Haki from him, and he is just feeding it to Enma now. Like, he is completely feeding Enma his Haki because he's trying to prove that he is the person that could wield it. At this point, I think he's going to make Enma a black blade and he's going to keep Enma. I was under the assumption that he may get rid of Enma, and that was because I didn't think Enma would be a black blade. But now, with this whole coding fiasco and Zoro confirmed to be able to kind of like do this and understand what this is, I think that that's the next thing that's going to happen. He's going to coat Enma and his Haki to the point where Enma becomes a black blade. But of course, these are just my thoughts, guys, and I want to know all of yours. So make sure you comment down below. Let me know how you think black blades are created. Also, what do you think about Enma becoming a black blade? As always, I hope you all are staying safe and healthy during these trying times. This has been Synsei Inc., and I will see you all in the next video.